Cutie Pies. I'm Lanikia, and I'm coming to you with what happened on the soaps. This is the Days of Our Lives edition. Today is Monday, May the 2nd, 2022. Happy May. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into this. On a scale of 1 to 10, you know how we do. I'm going to give this about a 7. It was pretty good. I'm going to give it a 7. All right, so we see Steve and Kayla are at Brady's and they're just enjoying their time. Well, she can't focus because she's thinking about how she done lost her job. And she tells him, she's like, they tell me fire Marlana and I don't do it and I lose my job. They bring Craig in to fire Marlana and he doesn't do it. He still has his job. Marlana still has his job. She said, dang, I should have just fired. And as he said, Steve said, you would never do that. She said, no, because that wasn't right what they wanted to do, but she's disappointed in them, and how they went about everything. So, he gets her mind off things and tells her, if we could beat me at a dart game, I'll do the bathroom, like paint the bathroom. So they're cool with that. um so then we see Tripp comes in with them. Now Tripp has been at the hospital because they've seen Johnny, and Johnny has let them know, hey, I'm still alive. So Tripp was the doctor that took care of Johnny. So he comes in and he tells Steve and Kayla everything that he knows about Johnny and how Johnny was possessed with the devil. And now Allie is, but they're like, oh, this could be good. Well, at least Steve is like, this could be good because that means that Allie wasn't the one who got with Chanel. And he said, nah, she wasn't possessed then. He was like, that was the night that Johnny blew up everything and he was the one that was possessed. So it couldn't have been, that. So my marriage with, my relationship with Allie is over. And it was like, oh, okay then. And that's pretty much it with them and with them for the day. I like them, but that's pretty much all they had to do with them for the day. All right. So then we go to speaking of uh, speaking of Johnny and Chanel. So then we go to Johnny and Chanel. Now in the hospital, Johnny comes up and he's trying to explain to Chanel that it was, that wasn't him. He was out of character. And she was like, what? Um, you're such a, she's going off on him or whatever. And he was like, that wasn't me. And then he passed out because Johnny is in need of water. He is dehydrated. And so when he's in the hospital bed and everything, Chanel is just like, he tells Chanel, EJ lets them know that he was possessed by the devil. This was before he passed out. He let him know that he was possessed by them, know that he was possessed by the devil. And they were like, what? And then that's when Johnny passed out. So now they're in the hospital and Chanel comes in to see him. And he just tells her, it wasn't him, like humiliating her and all that. And she was like, that wasn't you. You made me feel, I was like, girl, now listen, Chanel, your little whiny voice already kind of irritates me. You're a pretty girl and you seem real, you're sweet and everything, but you irritate me a little bit. And so, it wasn't him. He said it wasn't him. It wasn't him. And so finally she gets it that it wasn't Johnny who did that to her. And she said, he tells her about Tripp. He doesn't blame her for Tripp, and he knows she was with Allie and all that. And he says, I don't blame you for Tripp. And she said, how do you know about Tripp? And he said, the devil showed me. And she says, what do you mean? And so then he proceeds to tell her, um, that Allie is the devil and that she showed her on the screen. She said, wait, what? Excuse me. At first, he told her about seeing her and Tripp on the screen, and he saw them getting drunk and making out, and then leaving to go to her place. And she said, "Yeah, but nothing happened." And he was like, "Ooh, I knew I liked Paulina because she was like, my mama didn't let nothing happen." And so then she said, "But for you to see that, you would have to. You weren't the devil. You were following me." He's like, "No." And she said, "Well, for that to happen, the devil needs a host. It needs someone." And he said, it's Allie. And so she's just in shock. She's been with the, first of all, girl, you should have never been with the brother and the sister, twins. Like, girl, what's wrong with you? But, and you were with Allie and, so now she has to make up her mind because both times her heart was broken was not by them. It was actually by the devil, so who you gonna choose, Chanel? Who you gonna choose, girl? So then we see Okay, so Marlena gets a phone call from Belle, and Belle tells Marlena, listen, Allie is possessed and all this. And Marlene was like, oh my gosh, Belle, I hope everything, thanks you for updating me and everything. So she ends the phone call. And so then EJ busts in and he tells Marlena, we got to find, Allie is possessed. She says, I know, I talked to Belle, and he says, we need to get Sammy, and get her on the, get her home, because she says Sammy is away with Lucas. And so they try to call her and they can't reach her. And he said, well, maybe we need to get the police involved or something, because he was like, we need to get Sammy here. And so then we see, who else do we see? Ray. Okay, so pause there. So we see Rafe and Ben and Jake, and they're talking, and Rafe and Ben is letting them know Allie has Sierra and she's possessed with the devil and everything. And they were like, yeah. And Jake was like, that explains it, because he was like, I got knocked out so hard and he can't remember anything. But anyways, Ben tells him, well, Marlena hypnotized me and it helped me. And he said, yeah, I'll help. So they go down to the hospital. And while EJ is talking to Marlena, Jake and Ben bust in and they start telling her that they think Sierra is with Allie, that Allie has kidnapped her. So then the next scene we see, is Marlena, Jake, and Ben. And okay, so then EJ goes out and he talks to Rafe. And he was just telling Rafe that, about how, everything about Johnny and how he's been possessed this whole time and he's been locked up. And so he started telling him that he should have known, he said, because what Johnny was doing was out of character. And Jake said, and Rafe is like, well, it gradually happened. He said, actually, no, it was immediately. He said, but I was so happy that he let go of Chanel, and I thought he was finally coming into like being a Demira man and realizing Chanel pretty much was beneath him, is what he was saying. She wasn't right for him. He said, I was proud of him. He said, all this stuff that Johnny was doing, I was proud of him. I thought he would finally came into his own as a Demira man. And he says, what does that say about my character, that the one time when I'm finally proud of my son, it's not even my son. First of all, it's not your son, and second of all, it's the devil. Like, sir, that that does not read good for you. What? So, anyways, that's what he says, and then Rafe, he was like, "Look, me taking comfort for you," and Rafe says, "Johnny's always been his own man." And they just say, they both care for Johnny and they both want to see him happy and everything. And Rafe just tells him, don't beat yourself up too hard about this. So then what happens? We see Ben, Jake, and Marlena. So she hypnotizes Jake and she says, tell me things. So he says, I'm there. I'm talking to Evan. He was like, I get knocked out. And she says, then what happened? What happens? And he says, I'm blank. And she says, take your time. Remove all your senses except hearing. And he says, I hear Allie. And he's like, okay, what's she saying? He was like, I can't make out what she's saying. And then they say, what about Sierra? Ben is like, what about Sierra? And he says, yes, I hear Sierra. She's upset. And she said, she's saying that Ben can't be gone. And no, Sierra's upset about something. She's crying about Ben being gone, and then Allie is saying that yes, he's gone and everything. But anyways, they bring him out of it, and they're like confused. They were like, "What does that mean?" And because they're like, Ben wasn't there, so why would Sierra be crying thinking Ben is gone? And so Jake is like, "Oh my gosh!" And they're like, "What?" And he said, can't the devil change people? Jump bodies and change people into different things. And Marlena was like, yes, she changed Susan into a cat. Didn't need to be said. But anyways, and he was like, I think she changed me into Ben. And Jake, and so Ben is like, oh my gosh, that's why Sierra was crying. She thinks I'm dead. Because he said Allie has Jake told them Allie had her hands on my wrist, like she was checking my pulse. And that's when Ben was like, she made Sierra think I'm dead. So then we go to Sierra and Allie. Now, remember Friday, Sierra had made Allie pull over, but she says, I want to talk to Rafe. So they call Rafe again, and of course Sierra has tricked the phone. So when they call Rafe again and everything, um, Sierra talks to him about Ben, and he says, right now, the best thing you can do for Ben is get into a safe place with the baby. And so they're like, okay. And, she didn't want to hear it, but when he kept saying it and everything, they were just like, okay, yes, let's just go to a safe place and take care of, so you could take care of the baby. So they go to the cabin. They arrive at the cabin, and Sierra's like, I haven't been here since my dad and mom, and he used to go fishing and all this kind of stuff. And then she just tells Sierra tells Allie, I want to talk to my mom. And Allie's like, why? She said, because a lot, like, Allie, come on. She was like, all this stuff is going on. I just need a reassuring voice. I want to talk to my mom. So then Allie's like, okay. And then she looks at her phone and says, oops, no bars, no service. And Sierra just closes her eyes, and I'm like, I feel like Sierra is catching on that this is not Allie, you know. But I don't know, child. But that was Days of Our Lives. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And shout out to you guys. I see my views growing every day with the Days of Our Lives, and I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you tomorrow for a new edition of What Happened on the Soaps, Days of Our Lives.